Alright guys, we are going to be talking about topographic maps today. Alright, what a topographic map is a map that is two-dimensional and it shows changes in the elevation of the earth. Topographic maps are also called contour maps because there are contour lines on the map. Contour lines are things that show the elevation and the changing of elevation above sea level. So here's an example of a real world right here. Here's your mountains, okay, or hills. Down here you have a topographic map. So as you can see, we start down here at zero elevation. So that means the ground, and it's slowly going up, right? Well, here we go. We got 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500. So as you can see, the elevation is increasing as you go inward. A contour line is a line on a map that connects points of equal elevation. So that means everything at the bottom right here, that one line is all at 0. The next one is all at 500. So the elevation would be 500. And so on. It also shows the elevation and the shape of the land. So what that means is everything is a clue onto what the shape of the land it looks like. Right here, do you see the dip? There's another dip right here. That V shaped. That means that there is a river coming out there. All right, and if it's close together, that also means something. That means that it's really steep, that the mountain is steep. Further apart, that means that it is not as steep. So it gives you clues as to what the hill or mountain looks like. Relief. Relief means that it's the difference between the highest point and the lowest point. So you would take 2,500 and you would subtract that from 0. So relief is just the difference in elevation. Okay, here's another example of contour lines, just to show you kind of what it looks like. Contour interval. When you think of interval, you should think of math. Okay, what am I going by? Like on your y-axis or your x-axis. It's the same thing. So it's the difference in elevation between each line. So from 500 to this line, okay, what would this line be? What is the difference? Okay, jumping to this line, all the way up to 600. So you're trying to figure out what each line represents. So if I've noticed, okay, I got 520, 540, 560, 580, 600. So I figured out that each line you are increasing by 20. So that's my contour interval. There are rules for contour lines that number one is they never cross each other. So you're never going to get an X. Okay. Number two is they form closed loops. Okay, see how this forms one big circle. Number three, for a river, you always have a V. So contours bend upstream. So upstream, that means where the water is coming from, or uphill, when the crossing a stream. So if you look here, I have a V coming here, a V, so that means that the direction of the river is coming down. So wherever the V is, that is the point, is where the river is starting from, and it is flowing down. Okay, if it's the opposite way, that means that the river is down here, flowing up on your map. Okay, so if you look here, right here, see how this has got a V here? That means that the water is coming from here. Okay. This one also, we have a V. It's pointing where it is coming from, upstream, so that means it's flowing down into the ocean. All right, delta. A delta is where the deposits of the sediment settle. It is carried by a river, and it flows down the river, and then it settles at the mouth. So if you look right here, we know that this is a river because of the V's. This is the source of the river down here, up here, and it is flowing downward. Your delta would be at the bottom because that's where the sediment is going to end up. All right, whenever your contour lines are really close together, like this picture right here, that means that it is steep. If you notice over here, the lines are not as close together, that means that it is gradual or not as steep. So that means the mountain or the hill is really steep over here, not as steep over here. I'd be wanting to walk over here. Okay, here's another example. This means that it is really steep. If the lines are spaced out, that means that it is gentle or a gradual slope. So you can notice right here, it is more gradual here and it is steeper here because they're closer together. Here's another example. That right here, they're close together, so that means it's steep. When they're spaced out, that means it is a more gradual slope. Depression. A depression is a crater or a sinkhole in the ground, so that means it is going down. So the way that you know that there is a depression in a topographic map is it has these little hash marks inside. Here's an example right here. These hash marks inside indicate that there is a depression or a sink, so that means that the elevation is actually decreasing right there.